Alright, so bevels. Bevels are one of the most important part for for those of you guys that don't know what a bevel is where, so you have your flats, right? Is where it tapers down to a thinner edge. That's just called a bevel. There are a couple different types of bevels. There are flat grinds, which this is what this is. So a flat grind is basically where it is just one continuous, so if you think of, let me grab some pieces of steel. So if you think of this as your flats, that would be your bevel, right? So that is a flat grind because it goes it's perfectly flat. There are convex grinds, which instead of going flat, they actually kind of radius down. So that's what's going to happen on this. So your bevel would kind of look like this. So you would have your flats, right? So you're going to have your flats, and then the bevel is going to kind of not near that extreme, but it's going to kind of concave down, or not concave, just kind of radius down. Now a hollow grind. Hollow grinds are a type of bevel which would be this. So in this case I actually have one that is hollow grind. So you have your flats, and then if you look closely you can see how it concaves in. That's a hollow grind. This one happened to be chisel grind. And when chisel grind is just there's one grind, not two. Like say on this one where you got two. So the benefits of a hollow grind are you can get them a lot sharper, just because there's a lot less material in the way, so there's a lot less that the knife has to be able to push through to cut. The other advantages of these are, so whenever you're sharpening, that angle is going to stay the same till right about there, so you have a lot of room for sharpening, so your angle is very unlikely to change. So flat grinds are, the benefits of those are they're fairly strong, but they also they can still get really sharp, but they're also fairly strong. Those are usually on kind of like just medium-sized fixed blades. Hollow grinds you see on a lot of your pocket knives, like your Benchmades and your Spydercos and all that kind of stuff. Convex grinds you see on a lot of bushcraft knives. Basically just like cleavers, all that kind of stuff. The reason for that is convex grinds are a lot stronger, but you're also sacrificing a little bit of sharpness. I mean, you can still get them razor sharp, but they will hold that edge a lot longer. I usually do flat grinds or hollow grinds. So a convex grind is going to be done on a slack belt like this. The reason for that is if you see it kind of pushes in, just so that you can get that, that radius. Hollow grinds are going to be done on a, here, let me do this real quick. So hollow grinds are going to be done out on a wheel, usually by a 10-inch contact wheel. In this case, I just have a 2x42 that you can't get contact wheels for, so I just use the drive wheel. Probably not the best thing, but it's a cheap grinder, so I just do that, and that's going to give you your radius inwards. And then flat grinds, those are just going to be done on your standard flat platen. Just because, it's a flat platen, so the belt is going to be running flat. Or belts will never run perfectly flat, but they'll run pretty flat, up within a couple thousandths of an inch usually. Or hopefully, if not, you need to get some new belts. Whenever you're grinding in bevels, I would not recommend using an old belt. This one is a very worn out belt. As you can see, most of the grit is pulled off it. This was a 40 grit ceramic. Let's see. Ideally, you're going to want to use something more like this, where the grit is all still on there. These are some 36 grit ceramics. So what I like to do whenever I'm grinding in my bevels is I will start at a very steep angle, usually about a 45 degree. And what that's going to do, so if you see, I have some scribe lines on my center. And what those are going to do is they're going to allow me to see exactly where the center of my edge is. You want to leave it fairly thick before your heat treat. But that's going to allow me to see where my center of my grind is. And then whenever you are raising, so after you get both of your bevels down to your thickness, so that's going to establish your plunge lines. For those of you that don't know, your plunge line is right there. This one's not the cleanest plunge line. It's a little bit not flat right there. I could touch that up a little bit. But your plunge line is where the bevel goes into the flats. And then, so to raise your bevel, you're going to lessen the angle. So this is about a 45. Usually on bevels, you want them to be maybe about 10 degrees, 12 degrees, something like that. But it all just depends on how high up you want the bevel to be. Now I grind all of my bevels freehand. That is a harder way to do it. I prefer it that way. You can also use bevel jigs like this one. It's just a screw that's threaded. It's got a small bolt in the end and then something to clamp it onto. And what that's going to allow you to do is that's just going to hold it at your set angle. You can use angle cubes right there to get so you can be sure everything's good and precise. I prefer freehand. It's taken me about 2 years to learn, and I'm still not the best at it, but I still get good results whenever on the knives I'm trying to sell anyway. If I don't, then they go into... So if I don't get good results, like this one, they go into the scrap pile. This one is actually kind of looking forward to finishing up, but messed with the bevels, so you can't fix that. So fortunately, that one's going in the scrap pile. But most of my bevels do come out fairly good. I like to scribe my lines using blue die gum. So basically, whenever you're doing bevels, some of the key things are keeping your angle consistent. I like to hold it like this, so I kind of make a shelf with my finger. I put my thumb right here, and then I just hold it like this, because that's going to give me good support, and also I can try and change my pressure if I need to. And then you just, some people like to grind like this. I don't like doing that because I always mess up the angle right about here, through the midsection of your blade. So what I like to do is I will hold it straight, and then I will just drag the tip across. I usually end right about here, so usually about 3/4 through the belt. Probably just over half, so probably about 0.6 through the belt. So then what you're going to do is, in order to raise your bevel, so this is your bevel line right here. In order to raise it, what you're going to do, so you're on the grinder. Well, ideally you wouldn't just start like this and let go, but since the belt's not moving, it's okay. You are going to slightly, I'm moving it right now as if I was about to move it, or raise the bevel, and that's going to raise it quite a bit. But just that way the camera can actually pick it up. So you're on the belt, you're going to move it like this. Not near that extreme. Like I said, it's going to be just barely like this. And you're going to try and keep that angle very consistent all the way through. So that's basically what I do for bevels. So that should be fairly good intro into it. With freehand grinding, it's just practice. I've wrecked probably close to 20 knives doing bevels. And considering that I've made about I fail usually about 2 out of 5 times on my bevels. But so that should be good for bevels. I will probably do a more in-depth video in me showing you how to do it on a YouTube channel. There will be a link on the homepage. So yeah, that should be it for bevels. So thanks for watching.